We live in a time of extraordinary abundance. Maybe $100 trillion will move around the world in the next 50 years into new hands that didn't create it, so they have to integrate it. If the family doesn't have a way of helping us understand this process of abundance and integration, then we may get hooked on the fallacy just making more money is the answer. So we have this incredible abundance, but it doesn't correlate to happiness. Happiness to me is well-being. Wealth as well-being is the core spiritual premise of the spiritual capitals, the intellectual capitals, the human capitals, the social capitals of a family. That's its well-being. Spiritual self, aspiration, purpose, assistance to each other's enhancement. Social capital, can they make good decisions together over a very long period of time? Intellectual capital, are they a learning system? Are they full of curiosity and sharing with each other what they learn? And as human beings, are they thriving? Are their body, mind, and spirit strong? And all of a sudden, I realized that the financial capital had a purpose, which was not intermediation and making more capital, financial capital. It was supporting the possibilities that the spiritual, social, intellectual, and human capitals needed for sustenance. The families that I've worked with that are flourishing are almost identified by their culture of care. Building a culture of care in which we care about each other, we enhance each other's lives, is not only possible, it's the only answer for my own well-being. I would say that spiritual capital is profoundly defined by the word aspiration. Do you aspire to have a fifth generation of thriving, flourishing family members and a family that is a part of a flourishing society? This is the essence of the core of a family that succeeds, which is a family of affinity, a family grounded on positive connection with each other. I've observed that families that grow spiritual capital, grow their culture of care, grow affinity, grow enhancing, begin over time by doing those practices, using their spiritual capital, their purpose, their aspiration, their inspiration, begin to develop systems that get close to what Nassim Taleb called anti-fragile systems. So that consistent decision-making around care, around affinity, around enhancement, takes you toward resilience. Can you then get to an enduring system that becomes anti-fragile? That's what the great families are seeking.
There's one spiritual brain, and we all have it. When we realize our nature, when we build, if you will, and strengthen the spiritual core of who we really are, then our lives unfold in an entirely different way. Life is healthier. Life is far more full of resilience. Life looks different. It's far more of an adventure, an expedition. And when we boil down and look right at the data, where hundreds of peer review articles say beyond a shadow of a doubt, there's nothing as profoundly protective as a strong spiritual core. Together with my colleagues at Columbia Medical School, when we looked at structural MRI, when we looked at the architecture of the brain through MRIs, what we see is in people with a sustained spiritual life, broad and pervasive regions of cortical thickness represented in red. These are regions of perception, reflection, and orientation. With 80% overlap, these regions are not thick, but thin in people with recurrent major depression. The cortical thickness across the regions of the spiritual brain decreased the level of symptomology of depression 1 year out, a year from now. That is very strong evidence that indeed, spiritual life is neuroprotective against depression. Spirituality is not a life hack. Spirituality is a deep reorientation in our lives through which we see into the truer, more foundational nature of reality. We are way oversold on the idea that we can control life. And we are really almost indoctrinated into an illusion that achieving awareness alone can be enough to handle the challenges of life. We must be able to look at life in a bigger way, in a deeper way. And that is our awakened awareness. Awakened awareness is when we shift and we say, what is life showing me now? What is being revealed here? It's a stance of deep curiosity, total observation of the eyes, yes, but also of the heart. But whatever our language, we are no longer controlling life. We are in a dynamic conversation with life. I was taught to go after what I want and get it, and give it every bit of strength I could so that I could win the day. And that's a helpful skill, but it's completely insufficient to live a meaningful, full life. So we need to teach ourselves to have a different conversation with life, to go from saying, what do I want and how am I going to get it, to the deeper, more fundamental question of what is life showing me now and what is life showing us now. So we need both achieving awareness and awakened awareness. And when the two go hand in hand, our life becomes a magnificent adventure. It becomes a quest. We're constantly part of the symphony, helping each other realize the grander opus. There are always two realities, and they both matter. We are a point and we are a wave. We are magnificently distinct with GPS coordinates all over the globe and exquisitely diverse zipped up bio bodysuits. And at the very same time, we are part of one human heart, one field of life, a oneness, a unit of reality, one field of consciousness, loving, sacred consciousness. And we are built to be able to toggle between these two realities. Every one of us is built to be able to perceive that we are exquisitely unique and we are part of one great sea of life. Can we move from narrowly transactional relationships to ones that are loving, that are far more generative, that are transformational? In this gift of life, we are loved, we are held, we are guided, and we are never alone. And not only that, we are given the ultimate opportunity to show up for one another so that we might be loving and holding and guiding and never leave anyone alone. That's the spiritual path.
Spiritual capital is about what we aspire to when you really set out to say, our system will be a culture of care. We will enhance each other's journeys. We will enhance the planet. We will enhance the strangers that our philanthropy touches. The depth of the word caritas is extraordinary. Care. And what do you care about? And that question of what you care about will tell you almost everything about what your spirit is aspiring to. A life of aspiration is a life of virtue. Are you courageous? Are you empathetic? Are you just? Do you believe in interconnectedness? We're all part of the energy body of this universe in this material form. When we're talking about spiritual capital, what do we believe in? What's larger than ourselves? What is our purpose? If you have inspiration that comes from that aspiration, then you begin to have spiritual capital, an abundance. And you can go a long way toward a flourishing family, toward a flourishing society, when you have an aspiration that matches that process of evolution of spirit.